Yes, yes. And what you've shared, in
Yeah.
fact, just ties into, my next question, and also the question I had after that was, how did you react when it first hit in March 2020? I guess you mentioned that you had already started having online interactions, so you're grateful for that. But, just talk more about that, and also what have been people's key concerns during this time?
Yeah, those are good questions. Well, here's the thing. Like everybody else, I thought, oh shoot, this this is interesting. This is interesting. But I am not afraid of change as much as other people are. And there's something about leaving employment and starting your own business that makes you a bit of a ninja, whether or not the business fails or succeeds. There's something about constantly putting yourself in a position where there's change happening, and fear of rejection and being actually rejected, and wins and losses. I built my resilience was built over the years. I don't want to say I built my resilience, because yes, I took some actions, but there were other players involved, like my coaches, my teachers, just other people I interacted with, even people who I got no's from. Those are the people who really build your resilience, right? So my resilience has been building over many, many years. And I have to say, Andrew, I could see the effects of personal development, both life coaching and business coaching. I could see the effects on my life long before the pandemic, but it really dawned on me how significant it was to have taken those steps in the last 19 months, because I'm still in the same house I lived in pre-2020. My marriage is still intact. My daughter is healthy. I still have my sanity. I'm still working. I'm still able to laugh with my friends. And I put that down to all the personal development work I did over the years. And this is why I'm such a warrior for people receiving coaching. Yeah, they say the time to dig a well is not when you're parched. You need to dig the well in advance, so that when you get parched, you just go, oh, let me go to that well. And I'm telling you, and I have this conversation with so many other coaches, Andrew, we had to dig deep and even find practices we had dropped because we thought, oh, we've outgrown this. So I had resources. And I was chatting to another coach. I remember this so clearly. I was in my car. It was late at night. And she and I have this in common. We both like the nighttime and the stars and the moonlight. And I just driven home right before curfew. And we were having a conversation. And she said, aren't you glad you have the tools to deal with this season? And because we've done a lot of personal development work together. We were involved in constellation therapy, for example, last year. We were invited by a friend of ours to learn from her guru last year. And so, sorry, not last year, I should say in 2019. In 2019. And she says to me, this lady, Caroline, says, aren't you glad that you have the tools to deal with this season? And another fellow coach, a lady called Jane, said, had this happened many, many years ago, she doesn't know how she would have handled it. But because of all the years of personal development, she's handled it. So to answer your question, yeah, I got scared like everybody else. In fact, my husband and I actually got into a fight a few days later, like an argument. And I could see that it was fear-based. It was about money. Because before March 2020, you looked at your wallet and went, wow, yes, this is good. And then things changed and you went, hang on a second, is this going to see us through? So it's amazing how things can change very rapidly. And as my husband and I were arguing, my husband's a really cool guy. We don't argue often. We've grown and learned how to engage with one another in a healthy way. As we were arguing, Andrew, I could see this is a fear-based argument. And I gave myself the grace, and I gave him the grace, because this was a new situation. We'd never been in a situation like this before. The world had never been in a situation like this before. So I remember he decided to go out just for a bit of a walk, just down the street. Because remember, we couldn't wander while free and wild. We couldn't roam around the way we used to. So he went for a very short walk. And that was the best thing he could have done, because it gave him space, it gave me space. And when he came back, we were just like, look, this isn't helping. Let's just figure this thing out. And we sat down, we figured it out, and we were like, okay, look, we had all these plans to invest in this, invest in that. Let's just put that on pause. We became even more intentional about how we manage our finances. And that's a plus that has come out of this time.